I'm your host, Josie Van Dyke, and I am sitting next to a 2-month postpartum queen. Freaking Rachel Gomber, everybody. 2 months postpartum. Are you kidding?
Yes, I know. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so
excited
hot.
to be here. You were so sweet.
No, like, how do you do it? What's your routine? Like, why? How does one look like that 2 months postpartum?
Honestly, it's my workout routine is chasing around my two boys.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Because
really
how old are
good.
your boys?
5 and 3, and then I have a 2.5-month-old daughter.
No, that's
So
full house. We both have
wild.
3 kids, so I get it.
Oh my gosh, so fun.
Yeah. My kids are 5, 4, and 1.5.
So you get it. You're
So
very
I'm
busy.
in it. We're both in it. But like when I was 2 months postpartum, I looked like I got hit by a train. So
I feel it.
yeah. How
but
much
I'm
sleep are you
trying
getting?
really hard not to look at. Okay, she's actually an angel when it comes to sleeping.
Oh, really?
She's probably the best one that out of all 3 of my kids as far as sleeping. So I'm praying it stays that way.
Yeah.
But so honestly, she's actually sleeping through the night right now.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Yes, it's been great. So like I put her down at like 9 or 10-ish, and she'll usually wake up around 9.
Okay, we love her.
I know.
She's perfect.
I'm just holding on to it before the 4-month sleep regression.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like there's always a sleep regression. Like month 1, month 2, month 3, and it's like, or do they just all suck at sleeping? Who knows?
Truly. I feel like you can look it up, and like every month they'll be like, oh, it's this month's sleep regression.
Yeah.
I was like, what
are you talking about? I thought we just had one.
I know.
But I need to dumpster deep dive you because I don't know a ton about you.
Yeah.
I know your husband's in the MLB. Yes. I know you have 3 kids. I know you're hot, but like I need to know everything else. So I have to dumpster deep dive you.
Yes. I'm so excited.
Are you down?
Down.
Okay. We'll start from the very beginning.
Okay.
Today's episode is brought to you by Coconut. If you follow me on Instagram, then you know that my personal favorite organic personal lubricant is Coconut. If you are making clean ingredient swaps, it is so important to make sure you are getting quality ingredients that are good for your body inside and out. Coconut uses all natural ingredients. They are cruelty-free, made in the USA, and their packing is plastic-free. Not only is it clean and my personal favorite, but it would also be a great gift to your partner or yourself, or you could spread the love and gift it to your bestie. So head to coconut.com, that is coconut without the T, and use code WEEKLYTRASH for 15% off your order. My code stacks with their on-site discount, so order today and you can thank me tomorrow. Again, that is coconut.com. Use code WEEKLYTRASH for 15% off. And thank you, Coconut, for sponsoring today's episode. Rachel, where are you from?
Okay, so I claim Chicago.
Okay.
Probably because that's where I lived the longest. I lived there for 12 years. And it's also the coolest city that I've lived in. So, of course, I'm going to claim Chicago.
Yeah. I've never been to Chicago.
Oh, my God. It's my favorite city.
Wait, really?
So fun. So fun. Every year when Austin's team goes and plays there, we always go. It's so fun.
Okay, this is a dumb question.
Beautiful.
And I probably should have done my research more, but I know nothing about MLB. What team is he on?
He's on the Colorado Rockies.
Okay,
so we live in Denver half the year.
So you have a house in Denver and then a house here?
No, we just rent in Denver. We own a house here. This is like our off where we live in the off season.
Gotcha.
This is home for us and our family. My boys go to school here. And then when we're in Denver, we just rent every year. My husband, since being on the Rockies, the Rockies just renew his contract every year. So he's never been on like a longer term contract, just year to year. So
wait, that's kind of scary.
It is. It can be. It's very nerve wracking.
So like how many teams has he been on?
Just 2. He was traded from the St. Louis Cardinals back in 2021.
Which one did you like more? Denver or living in St. Charles?
Denver. St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Denver.
Probably more like family friendly.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And it's beautiful. Like it's super, like the mountains and everything. And then also like the team is just so family friendly as well.
Love that.
So yeah, it's been a really great experience. It's crazy. I feel like my youngest son, so my 3-year-old son, he was born when we were there. And I feel like he's literally like grown up in Denver, like at the stadium. It's crazy.
It's like how, like when people ask him where he's from, he's going to be like, where am I from?
Truly.
Denver or Arizona?
We talk about it all the time because all 3 of my kids were born in different states. So
really?
Yes. Beckham was born in Texas.
Okay.
Charlie was born in Denver, and then Addie was just born here in Scottsdale.
So they all have different homes.
Yeah. So we don't really know where anyone's from at this point, but this is what we call home.
This is what you call home, but you claim Chicago as where you were raised.
I was raised there. I was born in Detroit, raised in Chicago for about 12 years. And then I went to high school in Texas, but I only lived there for 3 years before I went off to college.
And where'd you go to college?
Auburn, Alabama.
Okay. What's their thing? Is it
War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Yes.
Okay. And
Yes.
Alabama, were you a sorority girl?
I was a Chi Omega.
I love it. You give sorority girl vibes.
It was so
for
fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
In high school, were you in cheer or dance or like?
I was on the dance team.
Dance team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dance team and golf team.
Golf.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. Shocking.
No, golf is where the money's at.
Truly.
Like, are you good?
I was.
Okay.
The day I quit, it like broke my dad's heart. I think he was really hoping for a college scholarship there, but
Yeah.
no.
Did you get any sort of scholarship with dance or anything?
No, I was not that.
You're like,
no.
You're like, no. It was like a fun little extracurricular activity.
Truly. So we like danced for like the football team. It was
Okay.
like basically the pom
Yeah, the
equivalent.
pom-poms, yeah.
Yes. And every like week you had to try out to like perform on the football field that Friday. I made like maybe 35% of the dances. Like I genuinely was just there for like
The good time.
the good times,
The outfit.
the fun.
Yeah.
Just to like say I was like a part of something. I was horrible. I was not a good dancer. I barely.
We should learn a TikTok dance after this. See if you still got it.
That'll
Just a
be
little
very
bit.
humbling. Thank you.
No, I have no rhythm. Like I have rhythm if it's on my own time. But if
Okay,
someone's like
yes.
telling me what to do, no.
Yeah.
Like I can't. What arm goes where? How many counts?
For
like
me,
I don't
it was
know.
the memory. Like
Yeah.
having to memorize a full dance. I don't have the good memory.
I'm the same way.
Horrible.
So we would be horrible dance partners.
Yes.
Don't put us on Dancing with the Stars anytime soon.
It's like my obsession right now.
Is it? Okay, we'll have to talk about
obsessed.
favorite shows in a sec. But so how did you end up meeting your husband then?
Instagram.
Weird. Was he in Alabama?
No, so he's from Florida. He's
Okay.
from Orlando. He went to college at FAU, Florida Atlantic, and then he was drafted into the minor leagues at 20 years old.
Okay.
And so then he was just like working his way up to the minor leagues, and I met him when he was in AA. So that's
Okay.
like two from the big leagues. So you've got AA, AAA, then the big leagues. So
Gotcha.
he was like halfway there. And where I lived in Dallas, Texas, I lived in a city called Frisco.
Okay.
Which is just north of Dallas, and that is where the Rangers AA team plays. And my husband was AA for the Cardinals at the time, and his team was in town playing the AA team for the Rangers, and that's how we found each other on Instagram. And he DM'd me. We met that night, and
The rest was kind of history.
Yeah, never stopped talking from that day. So.
Well, before I ask all about being married to him, I want to know what brought your family to Dallas if you were in Chicago for so long.
My dad's job.
So do you have a lot of siblings?
I have one sister.
One sister. Hey, I have only one sister too.
Oh my gosh. And then 3 kids. That's perfect.
Wait, are you the oldest?
I am.
Okay, you're giving oldest energy like I am too. Like,
Okay.
we're basically the same person.
Same thing.
Same person. Okay, so just daddy's girls.
Yes.
We love that. What's the age difference between you and your sister?
3.5 years. So she's
Okay.
3.5 years younger than me.
Is
but
she married with kids?
married, no kids. She's married to a pilot though, so that's super fun.
That's way fun. They get to travel all the
So fun.
time.
She does. She gets like free flights. She just flies standby everywhere.
Oh my
So
gosh.
fun.
And like having a pilot husband, they're gone a lot too. So you
They
both
are. We can definitely
you can relate on
relate
that.
on that for sure.
So when you were in high school and growing up, were you popular? Were you fun?
No.
Like what was Rachel?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I feel like I thrived in college.
Okay.
College is really where I like blossomed and like and I feel like part of the reason I did was because I went to school in Alabama, which was like a 12-hour drive from Texas. So there was no like driving home.
Yeah, calling mom and dad or leaving.
And I feel like that was so good for me because if I didn't, I would have been home literally every weekend, every night. And that's how I was in high school.
So you were a homebody.
Homebody. Like I was the person, like my parents were probably like, oh yes, we have like high school daughters. Like they can go out and hang out with their friends and we can finally, go to dinner. And I was always the person like me and my parents going to dinner or like crashing my parents' movie date. And
really?
Yeah, like that was.
So you really were daddy and mommy's little girl. Like you had a close bond with them.
So close. I've moved back in with them several times since I've been married too.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that. That's
we're
so
so
nice
close.
though. What do you think kept that healthy? Like, why do you think you wanted to be with your parents so much? Because I feel like a lot of teenagers are like, my parents are annoying. I don't like them. I don't want to hang out with them.
Yeah, no, I mean, I credit them entirely. They were like such great parents. I mean, they weren't perfect by any means.
Yeah.
No parents are, but ultimately we were just like really close. And I feel like we've been even closer ever since I've had kids too.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I had kids, which I'm sure we'll touch on, I had kids so young, which I know you're from Utah, like super normal there.
Yeah.
But I feel like in my life, like elsewhere where I've been, like getting pregnant at 22, like not normal.
Yeah.
It was like the biggest shock to me. And so I had, up until recently, all of my friends are now having babies, but for the past like 5.5 years, I've had no mom friends, literally none. And so I feel like that's how I like got even like extra closer to my mom.
Yeah.
Because she was the only person I really knew and had in my life that had been through it.
Yeah.
And got what I was going through. Because all of my friends, they were like, you know, still out partying.
Yeah, they're still in the sororities.
Don't get it. Like,
Yeah.
don't get it at all. And I mean, you know, as a mom, it's a lot too.
It's nice to have someone you can like relate to.
Totally.
So
Totally.
are your parents in Texas still?
They are. Yeah.
Is your dad still with AT&T?
No, he's retired.
I was going to say, do you have Verizon or AT&T?
AT&T. I still have the
day till you
discount
die.
too.
AT&T for life.
Oh no, truly, because I have like the discount even after you
Yeah.
retire. You
No,
get
that's
the
amazing.
family discount. So my husband and I have it. We'll be on AT&T forever.
We love that.
Yeah.
Shout out AT&T sponsor this podcast, please.
Thank
I'm
you.
begging.
Please,
Or
that'd be
like
so nice.
we would love that. Okay, so growing up, were you raised religious?
I was Catholic, or I am still Catholic. I grew up in a Catholic household, Catholic family, and I went to a private Catholic school all the way up till high school.
Oh wow. So yeah, you are Catholic.
Pretty Catholic.
Do you guys still go to church every Sunday? Mass? Is that what it's called?
We do not.
Okay.
We did as like my family when
Yeah.
I was like back home with my parents. We did all the way up until I left the house. Now it's really hard because I mean my husband works every Sunday, during season, and then my husband is not religious.
Gotcha.
So, but we are like our boys are both baptized in the Catholic Church. We're hoping for them to go to a Catholic elementary school next year. There's a really really great school near our house, so we've been to raise them. Not necessarily like religious as in like shove it down your throat type religious, but just like my husband and I, even though he's not super religious, we feel it's like part of our duty as parents to just like let our kids know like, hey, like this is an option and like this is like a really good option. This is there for you. But also if you choose that's not your path, then no big deal.
No, it's so interesting to talk to someone who's like part of a different faith and like a different life, because in Utah, either you're Mormon or you're not. Like
Exactly.
I feel like if you're Catholic, you can be like non-practicing or like half like, we were raised Catholic, but like we don't really go to church, and you can still be like, I'm Catholic.
Totally.
Where the Mormon culture, it's like you can't be like, oh, I don't go to church, but yeah, I'm Mormon. I mean, you can, but people are like, no, that's not right. Mm-hmm. Like you're in or you're out.
Yeah.
So I love hearing people who are like, oh, like they have like a normal mindset about religion. And it's like, oh yeah, we can kind of be part of it and still not go every single Sunday. Yeah. But have you ever had a Mormon missionary come to your door?
Yes.
You
they
have?
walk around our neighborhood. I have. I've also been to Salt Lake.
Okay.
And I got together with like Mom Talk a few years ago.
Oh, love it.
So witnessed
you've
all
seen
of
the
that.
Mormon culture that's in Utah.
Yeah.
It's very fun. It's interesting.
It is. It's wild. It's like a different
But
culture.
if I were to guess, I would assume you were Mormon. You give off like Mormon
girl
vibes. Like I would not have thought that you went to college in Alabama.
That's wild. I get that all the time.
Like you give Utah, Arizona girl.
That's so funny. I literally get that all the time. The amount of people that are like, "Oh my God, you're like, are you Mormon?" I'm like, "No, I'm not."
No, I was raised Catholic.
Yes.
Like total opposite.
Yes.
So how did you end up in Arizona? Like how has Arizona become like a home spot for you?
My husband's job. So when he was traded from the Cardinals to the Rockies, their spring training is here.
Oh, okay.
So he literally was here for spring training, just here in Scottsdale. And when I first came to visit him, I remember like falling in love with it. I was like, I feel like we're on vacation, like all the time. I just loved it. I'm obsessed with it. Like when we come back every year from Colorado, I'm like, I can't believe we live here. Like I cannot believe it's just so beautiful. And I just love it.
Like the heat.
So I'm not here in the summer. I live in Colorado in the summer.
So you get the best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds, truly. It's like we're like basically snowbirds just because of his job.
No, that's so nice.
Yeah, we leave here end of March every year, and then we come back this year. I came back earlier because I gave birth. Yeah. But generally we wouldn't come back until the end of September. Or beginning of October.
So yeah, you're here during like the best months.
The best times. It's so nice. And before we had moved here, we were in Dallas, Texas. We moved back there for a little bit when we were having kids just because my family's there and we wanted to be near some family and have some help. Because we currently live in 2 states with no family, no help, no nothing. Yeah. And it takes a village when you're raising 3 kids. But so when we lived in Dallas, we owned a house in Dallas, Texas. And then we lived there for 4 months of the year in the off season. And then we lived here for 2 months during spring training. And then we lived in Colorado for 6 months during season. And it just felt like crazy. After we had our second kid, we were like, why do we own this home that we only live in for 4 months?
Yeah.
And all this moving, once we added a second kid, with one kid, it was kind of easy. It was fine moving 3 times a year. But then after we added the second, we're like, this is insane.
No, I can't imagine.
Yeah. So we were like, let's pick one, Arizona or Denver. And we picked here. So we're here for 6 months, the off season and spring training. And then we go to Denver, Colorado for the MLB season.
And would you have ever pictured in your life, like growing up, that you would end up in Arizona or Denver?
No, never. I don't know where I would have thought I would have been. Honestly, I probably thought I would have been in Texas for the rest of my life.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Because in Alabama, were you ever like, oh, I could live here?
No, never.
No,
never.
just fun for college.
But I feel like a lot of people that I went to college with, they also didn't end up in Alabama. They mostly were like either Atlanta or Nashville, which I totally could have done those too. I felt like so.
Did you have friends from high school go to college with you?
No, I went completely by myself.
So why Alabama?
I was super interested in it. To be honest, I don't really know. I don't know, but I also like, I didn't like going back to like what I said about me in high school, like being a total homebody, like daddy's girl, like just hanging out with my parents. I didn't really have a ton of friends in high school.
Okay.
So I just like kind of just went and that's where I made friends. And now I have friends from college, but to be honest, like, I don't have any friends from high school. No.
Wait, that surprises
I
me.
also transferred in though. So I moved from Chicago into Texas halfway through high school. So that was a little bit harder. And then I just kind of felt like the group that I was in, I don't know if I would say friends, like, I don't know. I'm not into drama. Like the second that there's drama, I'm like, I'm out. Bye. See ya. Yeah. So I don't know. I never really had like that close, like knit friend group in high school.
Was that hard?
No, because I had my parents.
You're like, no, I was fine. I went to the movies and I got steak dinners.
It was fine.
Like,
I had a boyfriend too. So I kind of, I guess, was more like a boyfriend type person.
You had a boyfriend.
I did for 3 years. But other than that, if I wasn't with him, I was with my parents.
Wait, so did you break up with your boyfriend to go to Alabama?
I did.
Okay.
There was a lot of like differences there. I was kind of like very career driven and wanting to go to college and like have that type of lifestyle. And he was like a little more immature in that. Like he was just like, I don't know what I want to do.
Didn't have many goals.
Yeah, like no goals at all.
You're like,
yeah. So
you're like, you need to step it up. Yeah. Daddy's not gonna be my daddy forever. Like we need you to get a job.
I'm not trying to be
hard.
the breadwinner.
Yeah, no. Like it's so fun to make money, but it's really fun when that money doesn't have to like go straight to the bills.
Absolutely.
And like you have a man that like wants to buy you dinner and like surprise you with stuff. Like I think every woman should be spoiled.
Yes.
I think women should make their own money because like boss babes.
Totally.
Okay?
Love it.
Girl boss.
Yeah, that's where I still work.
But like a man should want to take care of you.
I agree. And I think that it's so attractive for men that are like driven and like passionate about things and like hard workers. Yes. And I feel like prior to my husband, I dated men that were not. Yeah. And that was like just super unattractive to me. I'm like, you're not going anywhere in life. No. And you could just kind of tell.
And we need men to want to go somewhere.
Exactly. And then like I met my husband who's so hardworking and driven and so.
So in college in Alabama, when you were in the sororities, were there any relationships that like stuck or were they all just kind of like, you are losers? The boys.
Wait, with
dating when you went to college?
No, yeah. I dated another guy. I've always been like a long-term relationship person. So I've literally only had 3 boyfriends. And the third one was my husband. So I had one in high school, dated him for 2.5, 3 years, one in college, dated him for 3 years, and then I met my husband, and then so
that's crazy to like have those long-term relationships, and then just like break up. And I can't. Wild. My only long-term relationship was my husband.
Okay, that makes sense.
So like all my like other relationships, I also got married at 20, so like I didn't have that much experience.
Much time, yeah.
But I feel like my high school boyfriends, it was like 6 months. I can't imagine dating someone for 3 years and then breaking up. Were you ever like sad? Like, was it ever hard?
No, not in high school because not the one in high school, to be honest. It was just kind of like, I think I was just like ready. I think like the relationship really just kind of like ran its course. Yeah. And I felt like as I was like leaving high school, I was about to like go on to something different. And I just felt like we no longer had any like really thing in common. And I felt like a lot of that was like our drive and our passions. And honestly, like a lot of like our family, like just so many things. And then in college, I dated the guy and that ended, which thank God, it needed to. It was a lot of abuse and cheating, and
Really?
yeah, it was
like physical,
really,
emotional?
yeah, both, all three.
That,
no, not all three, both of those. Yes.
Was that your first time ever experiencing that kind of behavior?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was wild.
And for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. And it's so wild because at the time I actually lost a couple of friends over it. I had a couple of friends that were, and this is like, by the way, if you ever have a friend who is in an abusive relationship, this is not the way to do it.
Yeah.
But I had a few friends that were like, look, like it's, if you don't leave him, I'm not your friend anymore. And even like, though I had people like telling me like, dude, like what he's doing to you is not right. Like this is insane. I still didn't like know it. It wasn't until I had broken up with him and like finally, I don't know how I got the ability to like, or like the courage to leave. But it wasn't until after that I think I was like having a conversation with my mom and I was like, Mom, I think I was in an abusive relationship. And yeah, it was crazy. And now looking back at it even more, I'm like, no, like I know I was. But it's wild how when you're in it, you don't necessarily realize it.
It's like, have you seen It Ends With Us?
No.
You haven't seen that?
I haven't. I'm probably like the only one.
No, you're the only person in the world.
I know.
But there's a scene where, because every incident that happened, it was like, was that abuse? Was that not abuse? And then once it ended, she like was able to relive those moments. And she was like, no, he did push me down the stairs. No, he did hit me. Like,
oh my God, I have like chills right now.
Like that wasn't an accident. Like,
yeah,
that's actually what he did.
Yeah. And that's also part of the abuse is them telling you, oh no, like I didn't abuse. It's like, oh, we'd talk about it and I'd be like, oh, well, you did this. And he'd be like, well, you made me do that.
Yeah.
You're so crazy. You made me to do that. Yeah. And I was like, wait, what? Like, or then he'd go cheat on me and I'd be like, well, I caught you cheating. He's like, yeah, well, you deserved it. Like I had to, like you made me do that. You don't make somebody cheat on you.
I know. And that's like, so messes with your head. You're like, okay, am I the problem? Like, what?
Oh, I truly thought I was the problem. And he also, that's another thing that's part of the abuse is they make you to the point where they make you feel like you are so insignificant that
so small.
You can't live without them. And so that's one of the reasons it took me so long to leave him is because I truly thought like, oh my God, like he's right. Like I'm nothing without him. Like I will never like amount to anything without him. When in reality, I was so much better without him, but it's fine.
So how did you get the courage to like finally leave? Like what was like the point where you're like, I'm not going to do this anymore?
Honestly, it was kind of my parents.
Yeah. Cause do you think they kind of had an idea before?
They definitely did.
Yeah.
Definitely did. But I don't think they necessarily knew it was like on a level of to be able to call it abuse. They just knew he was like a POS.
Yeah.
To be honest. And so I had the final time that I broke up with him, I found out he cheated. Cause I got the amount of, hey girl DMs I got. Hey girl, like just wanted to let you know.
Yeah. You're like, oh,
I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
And it's so wild. The amount of people I've talked to afterwards, they're like, oh, we thought you knew. And I was like, no, I didn't know. I didn't know it was that
no
bad.
And then after you're like, I'm an idiot. Like, what?
Truly.
But like, no, they're just so sneaky and like they freaking gaslight you and manipulate you. And you think,
you think, I was like, oh, you're right. You cheated. I'm the problem.
Yeah,
you're so right.
Like I need to be better.
Yes.
That's insane.
Mind blowing.
But your parents.
Yeah. So I was home from college that summer. The final time I caught him cheating, I broke up with him and I felt like he definitely tried to reach back out to me several times, specifically when we went back to college that year after. But I feel like because I was home that whole summer and my parents hated him, I like had no way to like really sneak out around them to go see him. Even though I kind of wanted to for like a little bit, and I'm so glad. Like basically I was just like, I can't, like, I don't know. Like my parents hate you. Like you are over with my parents.
Yeah.
And I didn't know a way to do it. And I just feel like, and that was at the beginning of summer when it happened. And so I luckily couldn't see him all summer and it was the best thing for me.
And how soon after that did you meet?
That summer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that probably helped too.
Yeah. That probably helped a ton.
Totally.
Do you feel like being in that abusive relationship, like diminished any of your self-confidence? Like was it hard for you after to like feel confident because he did make you feel so small?
It did.
Yeah.
It did. I think not necessarily like confidence wise in like my life. But I would say going into my relationship with Austin, which is so wild, like thinking back to that. Cause like, he's like, Austin's like the best, like most like loyal person ever. But I remember in the beginning, I used to get like nervous. I'm like, oh, like what if he cheats on me? Like, but that could never happen.
Well, because that's like the most common misconception, not even a misconception, because I do think there are men in the MLB that are POSs and do cheat.
Yeah.
But it's like everyone's like baseball players are the worst. Like baseball players are the biggest cheaters.
Which is so wild
because they're
to
gone
me.
so much or whatever.
It's so wild to me. That's not what I've experienced.
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, I've also seen that in college. I think in college I could say that that's probably accurate. But I feel like in the league, to be honest, from what I know of like talking to other girls in other sports, I feel like it's so much more common in like NFL and NBA.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen in MLB, but I mean, to be honest, rarely. Yeah. And I feel like I hear about it. Like it generally, like if it happens, like everyone hears about it. And I feel like there's usually like one a year throughout the entire league. And everyone's like, oh, okay. But for the most part, no, I feel like everyone's like married to their high school sweetheart and like so loyal and not.
Like how was Austin able to like really like show you his loyalty? Because like to go from literally being with a cheating crazy person and then like be with someone who is this hot MLB guy that's gone all the time, like I would have trust issues. I'd be like,
right,
how do I trust you?
And that's I think part of the thing that was so nice is like when I got into the relationship with Austin, immediately I saw, and truly that was probably that was another reason I don't know if I knew how bad my relationship with my ex was until I saw what a good relationship was. And then I realized, I was like, wow, like that was really, really bad. Like that's not actually what relationships are like. Like he almost led me to believe like, oh yeah, like every couple fights this much. Like every couple acts this way. Every couple gets in physical altercations. And then I'm like, wait, that's not accurate.
No, actually no man should ever touch you like that.
Wild. But yeah, so I feel like when I got into the relationship with Austin, and he just, I don't know, there's just like, it's hard to like explain it, but I've never once ever questioned like Austin. He just, I don't know.
I love that.
He's like, I don't want to like call him a golden retriever, but he's just so loyal.
He's so loyal.
Oh yeah. Like, and loves our family so much. It's just, like, I don't know. You just know.
You just know.
Yeah. He's also kind of like a quiet loser a little bit at times. Like he's when he's out with his friends and like we're out together, like he's so like outgoing and everything. But like when he goes on the road, like we'll want to have like his location, but like he doesn't leave his hotel room. Like
he's like, I'm just gonna hang out, watch a show.
He just chills. Like
go to sleep.
When we first met, big video game guy. Like
okay.
Yeah. So like
big video game guy.
Didn't leave. Like I knew, I was like, oh, he's not going out. Like he's fine.
So
no
did
trouble
you
there.
Go to finish college in Alabama and he stayed in Texas?
Sorry to interrupt, but today's episode is brought to you by Spearmint Love. You guys know how much I love Spearmint Love and all their fun prints and designs, but this season, Spearmint Love has everything you need to make Christmas extra special with their huge selection of adorable holiday outfits and prints. This year, they introduced not only matching mom and child lounge sets, but also matching mom and mini oversized knit sweaters. I could die. So freaking cute, cozy, and oversized. Perfect for chilly days and festive family photos. The lounge sets come in sizes 0 to 3 month to 12 years old for your babies or older siblings. And then for women, the sizes go from extra small to 3XL. So there's something for everyone. Spearmint Love isn't just another baby boutique. It's a trusted name in the baby space, known for its own exclusive collections, which I love, and a huge selection of high-quality baby essentials and holiday outfits. From their headquarters in sunny Arizona, they offer fast shipping to get your Christmas favorites to you on time. Now, we all know it's Christmas season. You're trying to get those matching jammies. You're trying to find out those cute fits. Head on over to spearmintlove.com and use code WEEKLYTRASH for an exclusive 25% off your order. That's right, spearmintlove.com and use code WEEKLYTRASH for 25% off your order. And thank you, Spearmint Love, for sponsoring today's episode.
That's when you first met, because were you still in college when you first met?
Yes, I was. So he was in the minor leagues playing.
Okay.
So he had lived in Florida, and then he was in Springfield, Missouri.
That's right. But you saw him in Texas because he played against.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's all coming back together.
Yeah, no worries.
So you guys did long distance for a while.
Yeah, we did long distance our entire relationship. Every pregnancy we've even done long distance. So I feel like, I feel like we still do long distance married with kids sometimes. Yeah. So it's wild. We did. I moved back here to Arizona this year at 35 weeks pregnant. So early August, and I had my daughter September 9th, and then he got home October 1st. So
wait, he wasn't at the birth?
he was. So he gets 72 hours, 3 days. The MLB gives you 3 days. So, but we had kind of decided, we're like, okay, we know we're doing September. Do we want to give birth in Denver and then move with a 3-week-old? Yeah. Or do we want to just be back in our home? We get the boys back in school in August.
Everything's settled.
Get everything ready, the nursery ready, everything, and just get ready for baby girl. And so that's what we did. And so, yeah, like the last 4 weeks of my pregnancy, we were long distance. And the first 3 weeks of her life, we were long distance. We did the same thing with all three kids. Yeah.
You guys are long distance pros. Yeah. How do you make that work? Like, especially like, how do you keep the romance alive? Like,
okay, I love this question.
Like, what do you do? Do you sext? Like, what's going on?
Actually, no.
Like, I'm shocked, honestly.
Okay, I think that actually the distance actually makes our relationship and like the romance better, because you're at a constant state of missing each other. Like we miss each other 24/7. We never don't miss each other. It was like right now, like he's home for the next 4 months. He's home every day. Like I'm just gonna be honest, like I don't miss him.
Yeah,
like,
he's right here.
He's every day, every single day.
You're like, actually, can you leave for a minute?
Honestly, same. That's
You're
one of my
space.
biggest complaints about our lifestyle and baseball is the half the year when he's gone, he is gone so much, and then when he's home, he is home so much. So you have one of the two extremes, and it's never like, I feel like there's like a middle ground there.
It's not like a 9 to 5 every day.
But like that's not it. So, but yeah, I feel like that's how we do it. It's just because we're like a constant state of missing each other. So I think that helps it.
Spices it up a little.
Yeah,
when did you know you wanted to marry him? Like when did you know he was the one?
Pretty immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did you guys date long distance before getting engaged?
2 years.
Okay.
Yes. And we were together 1.5 years before we got pregnant.
Because you got pregnant before you got married.
I did.
Naughty Catholic girl.
Don't recommend.
So that wasn't planned.
No. Oh no. It was a huge surprise. I mean, like obviously like surprises and like, like we were having sex. So it wasn't like how did this happen? But just like, oh my God, I can't believe it happened.
Because were you guys engaged when it happened?
We got engaged a couple months after.
So was the plan always to get married though before that?
Yes. Yeah. I just sped it up by like a year.
Okay.
Sped up the engagement and marriage by like a year, and then sped up kids several years for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
waited.
When you find out you're pregnant, walk me through that situation.
Boy. Okay, so I was home for fall break in Dallas, and he was in Florida in the off season, and I was feeling really sick. I was 6 weeks at this point, had no idea.
Oh, wow.
Had no idea. It was like midterms. I was kind of stressed. I also knew my period was never really super consistent because I had just been on the pill throughout college. So like me missing a period or being late.
Wait, were you on the pill when you got pregnant?
Oh yeah.
You're joking.
No.
Oh, he was meant to be here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So it was all meant to be. So but I was feeling like really sick and I had no idea what was going on. So I randomly went to Target and I was like, there's no way, but let me just rule this out. Yeah. But I literally, again, I'm like, there's zero chance. Like literally
like
zero chance. Yeah. Like there's no way. So I take the test in the Target bathroom, and I see the response, and I was like, that's wrong. There's no way. I throw it out and I leave. And I just went home and I was like, no way.
Target, you need to get a new pregnancy test.
Like, this is wrong.
This is expired. Yeah.
So then I wake up the next morning and I'm like
you really just like disregarded it.
Literally just threw it out.
Like, no.
So then I wake up the next morning and I was like, holy shit, like, did that happen? I'm like, shoot, like you should maybe take like another, like one more.
Had you like texted Austin that you were taking one?
Nope.
Yep.
So I take another one and I'm like, okay, it's now I'm like a little more like less delirious. So I'm like, okay, that's positive. So I call Austin and first I track him first because I was like, where is he at? And, I want to make sure. And I knew where he was at. So I call him and I was like, hey, I need to talk to you. And he was like, well, is this important? Because I'm about to step up to the first tee box. And I was like,
you're like, whoa. I
was like, yeah, this is like really important. He said he knew the second I called him and was like, I need to talk to you. He was like, I knew right away. Like,
yeah.
Like he was like, you just knew. Like, what else is your girlfriend going to call you about and be like, I need to talk to you? Like, come on, you know what's coming.
Heart in the stomach. You're like, oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Oh yeah. And so he said, he was like, okay, well, like, we'll figure this out. I basically, I'll call you after I'm done. I was like, okay, sounds good. He said it was like the worst 18 holes of his life.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So then
Who did you tell after that? Like, were you like, I need to tell somebody?
Yeah. So I immediately went and told my sister and I go, Lauren, what do I do? And she goes, well, don't tell Austin. And I was like, what do you mean?
You're like, he's my boyfriend.
I know. I was like, well, he would be the dad. So.
Yeah, probably told him first.
Yes, but I already told him.
Yeah.
And he called me right after the round and he was like, are you okay? Like, we'll figure this out. It'll be fine. We'll be good. And then to be honest, I feel like it was really wild. Our entire relationship that we'd been together for like a year and a half at this point, we spoke all day, every day, all day long, just being long distance. We were just like kind of like constantly texting. And right after we'd found out we were pregnant, we went like an entire day without talking. And it wasn't not even like we weren't talking. Like, I think we were just both like, at least how I felt, like I truly was like numb. Like I remember this like sense of feeling numb. Like I could not feel anything. I felt like the world around me was like moving and I was just like, oh my God, like I'm just numb.
Like I'm pregnant.
Yeah, it was wild. And then, I think he was probably collecting his thoughts too.
Yeah.
So this was a Wednesday. And then Thursday morning, he woke up and he sent me this, long text message that basically had just like everything that like a girl in that situation would want to hear and need to hear. And it was, like, I love you. We got that. Like, it'll be great. It's going to be like, I don't know, just like everything you want to hear.
Like, what did it say anything about like, I've always wanted to marry you? Like, because were you already talking about marriage at that point at all?
Yeah. So not necessarily marriage, but the plan was as soon as I graduated college to go travel with him and, do the baseball life for about a year and then engagement and then possibly marriage. We had not talked about kids prior.
Okay.
So good thing it all worked out. But literally that day in that text message, it was like, what ring do you want?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, all right, cool.
It's so interesting to me because like in Utah, I feel like talking about kids and marriage is something that you have a conversation about within your first date, not even like the relationship. So for you to have been together for a year and a half and kids hadn't even come up yet, just shows that you are not a Utah girl.
Not at all. Because I feel like I was so young. Like I thought having kids, I would have been like 27, 28 was kind of more like my time frame. I was 21 when we met. And I was 22 when we got pregnant.
And you were still in school, right?
I was in college. So like kids was not even on my radar. Like we were just like dating. I knew he was a great guy. Like kids was not on his radar either. He was trying to live his dream. Like he was trying to make it, which is so insanely hard. The minor leagues is rough. So it wasn't like necessarily anything we had super like really talked about too much about. But luckily it all worked out. We both wanted the same amount of kids. So...
And it was like, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah.
We're going to get married.
Yeah, definitely. It sped everything up. But it was like it's wild looking back at it. I think that probably finding out I was pregnant with our first, surprisingly, was probably like one of the best moments of our life.
Yeah.
Now, because it was such like a pivotal moment in our family. Like it truly like jump started everything that we have now. Whereas back then I thought it was like the worst day of my life.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how like it can change like
Switch
that.
like that.
Yeah.
Did your family excited? Like when you told your parents, like what did they say? Because it's like you're 22.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're a teenager, but also
True. And Austin is older than me as well. So he was 24 when we got pregnant. So he's gonna be 31 this week, and I'm 28. So
we have the same age gap.
Okay, yeah,
me and my
2.5
husband
years.
too.
Perfect.
Yeah,
it's not.
And I'm 28. He's 31.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
It's a good age gap. So I think I think that helped a little bit, but I told my sister, and she was really good. She kept the secret from my mom for a few days, and then I told my mom on Thursday, and then she told my dad because we didn't think it was gonna go super well. My dad's like the more like the Catholic, that too. And then like he worked so hard to get to where he was. My dad also was, so my dad's a 2-time cancer survivor as well.
Oh my gosh.
In college. So then he
got cancer in college?
Actually graduating high school. Yes. So then he just worked like so hard to get up to where he was at AT&T and send us to college. And all he wanted was like us to be successful. And so I think going into like my senior year of college, he was like, wow, like really? Like I'm not quite sure, because my mom was like, let me tell your dad, because I don't want, my mom was so good at handling it. I mean, she cried and it wasn't like, oh my God, we're so excited, but she had a great response. It was just like, we'll get through this. I'll be there. Like, we've got this. So I don't really fully know how my dad reacted. But then he called me as soon as my mom had told him, and he was like, it'll be good. Like, we'll be fine. And within like a week, everyone was excited. But I think just like the initial, it was hard. Initially. Because
like in your area, it's not normal to be having kids at 21, 22.
Not at all.
23.
Which is so wild.
Because like
in Utah.
Yeah, like it is. Like to me, if I got pregnant at 22, which I already I was pregnant at 22. Right. Like it's like, oh yeah. Even if I wouldn't have been married, it would have just been like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Like you're super normal.
You're only having one? Yeah. Like, where's your other 5?
No,
like
not where I was.
Yeah. So like it was like a huge like shock.
Totally. Because I've definitely experienced that. I've talked about, on my social media about how it was such a big shock. And I've had several people that are like, what do you mean? Like 22 is not that bad. And I'm like, well, it truly just depends on where you're at. Like, if you got married at 19 and you guys are ready to have a kid at 22, of course, then it's not as big of a shock. But I was in college. Like, I was going out to the bars, like I don't know, just
have a baby.
Not at all. And I really wanted to have a career too. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I really wanted a career, which is kind of why I think I like started social media with my son, is because my husband was obviously doing his career and I was a stay-at-home mom, so I had to figure out something. But I wasn't at the time feeling super fulfilled by being a mom. Yeah. Because to be honest, at 22, that's not what I wanted. I didn't really want to be a mom. I wanted to do something for me.
What was your degree that you were getting?
Oh, psychology.
Okay.
But
did you want to be like a psychologist?
No, I wanted to be a nurse originally.
Oh, okay.
And then I switched career paths. And when I switched, it was actually like right before I found out, right around the time I found out I was pregnant. And so at that point I was like, what degree can I get to graduate by May? Now that I'm switching, going into my senior year, what degree can I get to be graduating in May, because I'm having a baby in June? So I had my son two weeks after I graduated.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So, and they were like, psychology. They're like, you have enough that's already like lines up with psychology. And I was like, great, I'm getting a psychology degree. So
kind of badass.
Honestly, it's fine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't use it anyway, but
like, if you weren't to have gotten pregnant, do you think you would have been a nurse?
No, I shadowed as a nurse at Dallas Children's. And that right then I was like, this is not for me. I realized how incredible nurses are in that moment. And I don't have that. This is crazy. I hope this doesn't like show how weak I am, but I was only shadowing. Okay. So like not doing anything, not really touching the patients, but I was shadowing in the PICU. So, basically we were the place where the kids came right out of surgery. It was the anesthesia, where they're coming off of anesthesia. So like, open wounds, or, I mean, they're stitched up, but, and I would go home and it was like the most like mentally exhausting, physically exhausting, like, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. And I was only shadowing, not touching the kids. Yeah. So like, I can't imagine if I was actually the one like taking care of them.
Yeah, no.
Nurses are
saints.
I don't,
especially the ones with children. I really don't understand.
Can't imagine
how you have the mental capacity. Like, you are superheroes.
They're angels, truly.
Angels, superheroes.
I know.
They need to be paid way more.
Absolutely.
Way more.
100%.
So motherhood, you said it wasn't fulfilling you at first. So did it come natural? The actual, none of it? Okay.
No, I didn't think it did at all, to be honest. I was never really like a big like kid person. Okay. I always knew I wanted to have kids, and I'm still kind of that way. Like, I'm obsessed with my own kids, but I'm not like necessarily great with other people's kids. Yeah. If that makes sense. Like going into like, I've talked to like my sister about it, and like, she's like, I'm like, have you ever had baby fever? And she's like, oh yeah, like all the time, like watching you have kids. I never had baby fever. Like I did going into my third. I was like the first time I experienced baby fever at like 27 years old, but not going into like have my first. I was like, no, I'm just not. I don't know. I just thought I just had different plan. I'm very like type A, and like I have a plan for my life, and like everything was planned out how I wanted it to go, and it didn't get to go that way. But obviously it ended up being better than it could have been.
But it was like not what you expected
Not at all.
for yourself.
Not at all. And I remember being so scared too for, I guess, like any of the moms listening. So many people told me like, oh, well, the second you have that baby and you hold him in your arms, like the love. And to be honest, I don't think I really felt that either. Yeah. I think I was too scared to let myself feel that way. I was terrified, like absolutely terrified. I feel like I just constantly had this feeling of like, you're 22 years old. Like, what do you know about being a mom? Like you're not going to be that good of a mom. And so I was just terrified. And so I almost feel like, I've talked about this like on my social media. I feel like I was kind of like obviously my own fault, but I was robbed of like a lot of experiences with my first, like, you know, that feeling when they first come out, because I was just so terrified and so scared and didn't feel ready. And I felt like I was robbed of like that exciting, you know, you see all these videos being able to tell all your family and everyone's, oh my God, so excited, they're pregnant. And that's not how it went the first time. But I'm really glad that I, you know, had the second and the third child. And so I got all that with them. Yeah. So that was fun. But
when he did come, were you guys living together? What was the situation?
No. So my husband was in AAA. Okay. In Memphis, Tennessee. And so not like the best city. And we also just didn't know at that point. So the year prior, he had been what they say is up and down. So minor leagues, big leagues, back and forth. So you don't really have a home. He's just kind of wherever the team wants him in that time. And so that's really hard when you have like a wife and a kid. So that year I actually moved back home with my parents in Dallas, and he was in Memphis playing that season, and I lived with my family. So same thing, when we went to go have my son, my husband flew in, had his 3 days and flew back. And then we saw him again when my son was like a month old. Wow. Yeah. So then that was another thing I was terrified about was, you know, I'm 22, I'm having this baby, so unexpected, and knowing like, okay, my husband's leaving in like 48 hours. Yeah. And I'm about to do this all by myself. I mean, obviously I had my mom, I was staying at home with my parents, but still there's just such a difference. Like you want your husband there, you want your, you know, your partner there, not your parents helping you.
Yeah. You want like the picket fence family and like you're going to be together under one roof. Totally. Yeah. And do all the firsts together.
Exactly. And he was not really able to be around for a lot of those firsts. So
that's hard.
It is. Which it's like, yeah, there's a lot of amazing things we get to experience as a family with baseball, but there's definitely some hard aspects to it too. So
when obviously, because your two boys are pretty close in age.
Yeah. They're 2 years apart.
So for it to not come naturally to you, what made you feel like, oh, I want to do this again, like really quickly?
Because I wanted him to have a brother, and I wanted him to have
a sibling.
Yeah, a sibling that was close. I knew I wanted to have my kids close in age. So.
And 3 is the number?
Yeah, we're done.
You're done.
I'm very done.
You're like, we got our 3.
Oh yeah, I feel so like complete with 3. I'm so happy with 3, but I also know like what we can handle, and yeah, 3 feels good.
And has each postpartum felt similar? Like, have you had those moments that you didn't necessarily have with your other 2?
Yeah, I feel like I'm able to enjoy it so much more with this one. I think partially because I know she's my last. Yeah. And so that's kind of been like, I never thought I would get emotional, but also prior to having her, I always like told everyone, I was like, oh, I hate the newborn stage. Yeah. I love the kids. Once they can start walking, it's my favorite, but I hate the newborn stage. And with her, this is like the first time I'm like, oh my God, I love the newborn stage. And I think it's a mixture of so many things. One, knowing she's my last, and like also like I maybe like my age, like feeling like so ready. Like now I could not work and I would feel 100% fulfilled just being a mom. Yeah. Whereas I did not feel that way at 22. At 22, I was like, no, like this is not fulfilling. I need something else. Like I need to do more.
And that's when you started social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what was like the thing that you feel like really helped you grow?
TikTok and sharing. So my first ever video went viral, and it was because I had posted a video about like how my husband and I met in Instagram DMs, and I posted like in some of the pictures that I posted, he was wearing a baseball uniform. And so many people were like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. Like a baseball player just DM'd you and now you guys are married with kids. Like that's so cool. And then from there, this was also like COVID. So I started kind of sharing just like the behind the scenes of it too. And I realized there was like a niche there that people were actually interested in, especially because at this point, this was like his first year up in the big leagues. And so I feel like it was really something most people, when they hear like, oh, you know, professional sports player, you think the multi-million-dollar contracts and the big houses and the nice cars. And that was not where we were at that point. I mean, when you're in the minor leagues, you make no money.
Yeah.
And it's not, you know, they think, oh, they move all the time. They have all these different houses. And so I felt like there was like a niche there of really showing like, that's not how it was at the time. Like we did not have money.
Yeah. It takes a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort to get there.
Yeah. And so it was that's kind of like how I started. It was just like showing the behind the scenes of baseball life, but it wasn't necessarily like the glamorous side of it of like, oh, look at all these cars and houses and how fun like it is. It was like, oh no, like this is like the behind the scenes of like how we travel and which has been nice. I've gotten like so many comments that are like, wait, that's so crazy. I never actually thought about it when I'm watching the games. Like, oh wait, this is how the families get there. Like this is what the families do. This is what it's like every night going to the games. And so that's kind of like how I built that.
When obviously you have all these kids and your husband's gone all the time, have you made friends with any other wives that maybe have kids? Are there any other MLB wives that have kids?
Oh yeah.
That are around you?
So many of actually our entire group now in Denver, like all of them, all of my friends, I think all of, but like, yeah.
That's so fun because you guys can all go through it together.
So fun now. Yeah. But also when we got traded there 4 years ago now, I was like the only one. It was me and two other moms, and we would get together at music class in the park like once a week because we would bond over the fact that we were like the only moms on the team, where all the other girls were like going out and drinking before the games and, you know, having fun. And we're like, oh, we're the moms of the team.
Gotta get a babysitter.
Same.
Do that.
Exactly. So, but now like everyone does. So it's really nice. And we have such a great group of girls in Denver.
That's so fun because you need that.
It truly, it makes it, because we're all there without family. None of us have any family or anything. So,
and you all come from all over the
exactly.
place.
Yeah. So having like a good group of girls, and it like changes the whole experience for baseball.
When he got signed with the major league, was that like a huge day for you guys?
Yeah. So it was yes and no. Unfortunately, the day that he made his big league debut was the day my sister graduated high school. So I couldn't be there. And you also never know when it's going to be. So he's a pitcher. So now he's a starting pitcher. So I know he's going to pitch every 5th day. But beforehand, he was like a reliever.
Okay.
So he originally got called up in like May, and I quickly like got a flight, rushed there. He didn't pitch. And I was like, all right. So then he goes back to St. Louis, and then I followed him there and didn't pitch. And then he got sent back down to the minors without pitching. And I was like, all right, well, I just spent like thousands of dollars on flights and like nothing happened. Yeah. So then he got called up again, and same thing. You just don't know. And I was like, all right, he got called up again. My sister's graduating. Like I'll come the day after her graduation. And he made his debut while she was graduating. But I know. But it's okay. It ended up being, it was great. I came the day after, and it was fun.
Well, I'm sure that was like such an exciting thing for him, and
huge.
Like your whole life working towards that.
Totally. Like,
do you see your boys following in his footsteps?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. My kids are already obsessed with baseball, and all sports. My oldest literally just loves any sport. You put a ball in front of him, and he's playing it 24/7. But yeah, I don't know if they'll ever, be as good as that. And we talk about it all the time, how we want to be so careful about that. Like we don't ever want them feeling like, oh, I have to be as good as my dad, because the chances of them doing that, Austin's going into his 7th season in the big leagues now. Like the chances of them actually making it to the big leagues, I think it's like 0.03%. Yeah. Like it's like more than likely not happening. So we definitely want to make sure that they know, like, hey, like you don't have to be like the best of the best. You don't have to be that good, but just enjoy it, and they love it.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
To see their dad like literally just in the big leagues have jerseys with their names.
It's so wild watching it through their eyes. Like my husband and I were eating dinner a few weeks ago, and my son was in the front room playing video games, and he was playing MLB The Show, and he was like, Dada, I'm you. I'm playing you. And I like turned to my husband. I was like, he doesn't realize how cool that is. Like he probably thinks, oh, all my friends' dads are in this video game, but no, like it's just your dad.
Yeah.
And then we signed. He's like, this is his first year in like organized sports. So we have him in baseball right now, and he was like on the way to his first like practice. He was like, are there going to be like showers in my clubhouse? And I was like, there is not going to be a clubhouse for them. And then he was like, so like what stadium am I playing in? And I was like, you're going to play on like a dirt field. But it's so
a little
funny.
different.
Yeah, much different. So it's funny to see.
That's the cutest thing ever.
Eyes. It's wild. Yeah.
Have they got to see like people come up and ask their dad for like signatures on balls and stuff?
Yeah.
That's
but
so fun.
I don't think it phases them. They don't.
Like,
I don't think it'll be until they're much older, which is one of the things that I love about that I've done social media. I feel like I constantly have my phone out recording. So I'm going to be able to like show them back and be like, oh, like, hey, look at this is you guys standing next to your dad signing autographs. And this is you and your dad hugging after your dad had this amazing game in his career and all this stuff, because I don't think that they truly get it. I mean, we try to like explain like, hey, like just, you know, like so not everyone's dad does this. But I think, and not until they're older, they'll really get it and be like, wow, that was cool.
That'll be so cool. Well, and they'll have like a social media famous mom too. So like
I don't know
double cool. When do you feel like on TikTok it got to a point where you were making a lot of money through social media?
Probably when I signed with my management team.
Okay.
So I started.
Did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them?
No, yeah, they reached out to me.
At what point did they reach out to you?
It was
how many followers had you had at that point?
I think like 200,000.
Okay.
And it was about just over a year into doing it. And so I'd started it in COVID. I want to say my first brand deal was like in July. It was HelloFresh.
HelloFresh.
Love it.
We love it. Don't mind me.
So
I'm
good.
just lowering your mic.
So sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay.
I want to make sure that
I think it's because I moved. I was like originally
Well, no, I think it's because I moved this table. I literally went like this and it jerked up. And I was like, oh, sorry. I almost knocked it down. Okay, but it was 200,000 followers and it was with HelloFresh.
Yes, I did HelloFresh. And then after that, I had done like a couple small ones. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, like I can, like I'm actually like making money out of this. And at this point, Austin had like a year in the big leagues at this point.
Because before that, how were you guys even surviving?
His signing bonus.
Okay.
Yes. I also was working part-time remote in HR. So I had a job in HR when I had my son. I don't really mention it too much, but it was like 15 hours a week.
Hey, that's still having a job with a baby.
It wasn't not much, but I mean, we were not in the point. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that. I get all the time, I'll get a comment and be like, oh, so you saw dollar signs and we're like, get me pregnant. No, trust me, there was no dollar signs at this point in our marriage.
If anything, it was he was gone all the time and you're just by yourself.
Gone all the time. We had no money. I remember there was a conversation at one point, and I remember being like, because at this point, this is 2019 when we had our son. So this is, our finances are together at this point. The finances, I didn't really have much.
Yeah.
I was in college.
$100 a week.
Yeah, for real. And so, but he was drafted in 2020. So, or sorry, not 2020, 2014. So we're like 4 or 5 years into his signing bonus. And I knew what he signed for. And I remember being like, so where's this money? And he was like, I've been living off of it for the last 4 years. Like, we don't really have much of it. And I was like okay, awesome. Got it. Great.
Okay, cool. So what's the plan? Because like, what was the plan if he didn't go to the major league?
To hope to, that's one of the things that I remember I hated at the time. This was actually the night that we met. I asked him and I was like, so what are you going to do when you're done playing? Like, what's your backup? Going to Auburn, I knew a couple players that had been drafted. And no one ever made it. Like, it's very so common hard to get drafted. I wouldn't say it's common to get drafted. It's very hard to get drafted as well. It's hard to even go to college and play a sport and then to get drafted alone. But a lot more people get drafted that don't make it. Yeah. And so I just kind of like thought like, oh, like all these people get drafted, but like no one ever makes it. And so I'd asked him that night, and like, so what are you going to do like when you're done? And he was like, I've never really thought about it. And I remember I took that right away and I was like, oh my God, this, like, he's so not driven. Like this guy actually, I think he's going to make it. Yeah. No, he's just like wasting, like, this is so stupid. Yeah. And then I realized after a little bit of time, I was like, wait, no, that was him like just being driven, like blinders on, like there is no other option. I'm going to just like, happening. Yeah. Like I'm going to
blood, sweat and tears.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it worked out, thankfully.
Thankfully.
I mean, I don't know what we would have, luckily I had a degree and I could have, we would have figured it out. I think he still does not have a degree, but also, you don't need a degree to make. You don't need a degree for everything. You really don't. So I knew we would have figured it out.
You would have figured it out, but it was probably a little scary.
There was no backup plan though. Never any. None. Zip.
It was this or who knows what.
But he must have known. He must have known he was capable of something. Cause
I love that.
Yeah. I'm glad he did.
But now you
your own money too with social media. What's been like your favorite part about sharing your life on social media, and what's probably been your least favorite?
Ooh, favorite is just, okay, well, one, I love being able to look back at all the videos.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I look back at them and I'm like, this is so crazy. Our kids are like genuinely have grown up at Coors Field. That's the field that he plays at. And I'm like, our kids literally have grown up there. Like I have the amount of videos I have of them just like running through the hallways, and everyone there knows who they are. Like everyone was like, hi Beckham, hi Charlie. Like, oh, I see the Gomber boys. And they get their hair cut there. And like, it's awesome. Like looking back at that. And then I also love that I feel like I have this community now that is sometimes hard to remember how supportive the community is. Cause it really is. Cause sometimes it can be like blinded by the hate.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like the community there, which has been so awesome. I can't believe that's been built up.
It's so cool.
So cool to see that so many people support our family and like are rooting for our family to do well and all this stuff, and are there and like actually care. That's always shocks me. I'm like, wow, this many people actually care.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing.
I know.
But then like you said, that probably the negative part is probably the hate.
The hate, it can get a lot. I think we experience it a little bit more as a couple because I also have a following on social media. And then also the gambling has caused it a lot of issues too. I feel like the gambling. Yes, you can gamble on the sport.
Yeah.
And it's become, I don't know how it is. Can you gamble in Utah?
No, you can't gamble in Utah.
Okay, so you can't even like sports bet.
No.
Oh, okay. I feel like in the rest of the country, it's huge. And so, but
so people can like bet on your husband.
Yeah, and he's the starting pitcher. And so a lot of times if it goes well, if he pitches well, it's great. It's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah.
But also things can go south really fast as the starting pitcher. A lot of times the starting pitcher can really kind of determine the way the game goes. If they have a good game, the team is in it. And then it just kind of depends on the hitters if, they whatever. And if the starting pitcher has a bad game, you have a very small chance at winning. And so a lot of people, if they bet on the game or him alone, it's, our DMs are both flooded with death threats afterwards.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's wild.
Wait, that's like really scary.
It is. It can be. Yeah. There was one time we had to like get the MLB involved and had police officers sitting outside our house. And yeah. And I do feel like, because I have a following, I think we get it a little bit worse than some, because there'll be times he had one game specifically in Philly this year and he pitched really well. I think he had a quality start, which really well. That's great. And I had received so many like awful DMs, and I asked him, I was like, yeah, like, are your DMs just like blowing up right now? And he's like, no, I didn't get any. And I'm like, that is mind blowing to me. Why am I getting these?
Yeah.
Why am I getting the death threats? Why am I getting all the hateful DMs? You're the one that went out and threw the game. Like,
people are like, oh, she's an easier target. We'll get to her first.
I think so. Or I don't know what it is. So they're just how embarrassing. I've talked about this before. Can you imagine if you found like your husband in like a professional sports player's wife's DMs being like, your husband sucks? Like, that's embarrassing for you.
Like, get a life.
Yes, that is so embarrassing. It's one thing to message the player. Like, that's
and
fine.
even
like,
that's kind of embarrassing.
It's super embarrassing. But like, it's still one thing to message the player. But like her wife or his wife, what?
Like, you're a loser.
Like, are you okay?
No, they're not.
Okay. No,
they're not okay. No. They're also obsessed with you and your husband.
It's weird.
To like, no, that's crazy.
Yeah. But luckily I'd say our hate really surrounds baseball or sometimes me. Because I feel like the day that I get any hate towards my kids, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Done. Social media is gone. But thankfully I keep our family life and like what the boys are in very like cookie cutter, almost perfect. So that way they can't really,
nitpick it.
No, yeah, there's not really anything negative that they could say about my kids.
Because that's when the mama bear.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just not worth any money for me.
No,
it's not worth the money. I would rather be poor or not have a job than
and protect your kids.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm really grateful that I get the most of the hate. It's either I'm a gold digger or my husband sucks.
Yeah.
So
which like both are wrong.
Yeah,
so,
truly.
And when you know that, it's like, okay,
exactly.
Talk your talk. You're stupid.
Exactly.
So what goals do you have for yourself in the next 5 years? You're done having kids.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want out of your life in the next 5 years that you don't have right now?
No. I feel like I have everything right now.
I love
that.
Just
so exciting. Like it's like the best feeling ever. I remember thinking that like on the way to the hospital to have our third, I was like, this is it. Like I feel so complete. I can't think of outside of a puppy. We lost our dog in August. So
You did?
I know we
Wait,
did.
what happened?
He had cancer. But we didn't know. It was It was so sudden. Basically, he went out in the backyard. A tumor had burst, a tumor that we had no idea he had, and he was gone a couple hours later.
What kind of dog?
A German Shepherd. So outside of a puppy, which was so sad because I remember thinking like, okay, I don't feel complete with the 2. I feel like all I'm missing, like I need one more kid.
Yeah.
And I'll feel so complete. And I would just, my whole pregnancy, I was like, I'm so excited. Like, this is it. Like, this is completing our family. And then we lost our dog like a month before she was born. And I'm like, oh no, I feel like there's that hole there again.
Now we need the dog.
I know, but
like a dog and a puppy together, you need a hot, or not a dog and a puppy.
A dog and a
puppy
newborn.
and a newborn.
Yeah, nope, not happening. So I can't think of a single thing. I feel like which is crazy, and I'm so grateful. I feel like I have everything I could ask for right now. So
that makes me so happy for you.
Too. My family's they're great.
Like all the dreams have come true.
Truly. I'm very excited for this next stage in life of like my kids like growing up and like the activities and stuff. I'm excited to get out of the newborn stage.
Yes.
Although I do love it a little bit.
Even
right
though she is
now.
sleeping through the night, which is so crazy.
It's incredible. It's
so
incredible.
Crazy,
I can't believe this is gonna be like our last Christmas with an infant, like a newborn.
I know.
Or I guess she won't be a newborn by then, but she'll still be
She'll
a baby.
basically be.
A baby.
I mean, she'll be like 4 months.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much a baby.
Or almost 4 months. Yeah.
No, so. I love your content. I love living through you because I'm not an MLB wife. There's
so
not.
Appreciate it.
It's hard to become an MLB wife, like we talked about. There's not a lot.
No.
So it's fun to like watch. I feel like there needs to be a reality show. Would you ever do a reality show?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I wouldn't. No, I loved watching. I loved watching like The Secret Life of Mormon Wives.
Yeah.
Since I've met so many of them.
Yeah.
The one time I went to Utah to get together with them, but no, I don't think so. I think, no,
it's not for you.
Unless they were able to like keep it very like focused on baseball. But I think
because you know like how there's like the Untold Stories on Netflix, and they talk about like celebrities or athletes, or then there's the show that they did with the golfers where they like followed the golfers.
Yes. Okay, I could do something like that.
Like I feel like that would be cool.
Yes,
I feel like Netflix should do something like that with the MLB.
But it's more focused on the sport and them, less so like our family and trying to create drama.
Yes, because you don't like drama. We learned that.
Not,
you don't like that.
Not into the drama.
Not in the drama.
Neither is my husband. So.
No. Okay, in the beginning we were talking about something that you loved, and then I forgot it. Remember a show? You're like, oh, I love
Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars.
I love.
What if your husband went on Dancing with the Stars?
Oh my God, that would be a dream.
Because I feel like a lot of athletes go on Dancing with the Stars.
Totally. I feel like they're a little bit more. Sorry, honey. I feel like they're a little bit more well known of the athletes, but
we'll give it time.
But like, please, someone please have my husband.
We'll give it time. We'll give it time. No, you just need to like really blow up and become like the next Alex Earl, and then you'll be on Dancing with the Stars. But you don't. You said you can't dance. You can't learn choreography.
No, but isn't that the point of the show?
Yeah, you're supposed to be bad so you can learn.
They're more fun.
Yeah.
Is that
Who are you voting for?
Ooh.
Isn't it on tonight?
It is.
Today's Tuesday, yeah.
It is. My favorites this season are Joey and Danny. Yes. But then I also love Riley. Last year, Riley was like my fave for sure. Gosh, I feel like she's kind of what got me back into. You've interviewed her.
Yes. Harry and Riley is what brought Dancing with the Stars relevant again.
Truly.
Sorry, but it's true.
No, 100%.
Because they brought it to TikTok, and TikTok can make anyone
blow it up
famous.
Clearly,
like it really is where it's at. Like marketing, if they ever ban TikTok, like they're stupid.
Yeah, screwed.
They're dumb.
Yeah.
But thanks for letting me dumpster deep dive you.
Thank
but
you
before
so much
you
for
get to
having
leave,
me.
you have to do trash topic can. I usually have a little trash can, but it's a bowl. So just
Okay.
pick a random topic out of that bowl, and then we'll both answer it.
Okay. What is this one? Funniest childhood memory.
Oh, funniest childhood memory.
But we've talked about how I don't have a good memory.
You're like, that's actually like, what's the only memory I have?
The only thing I remember.
No, it's not a memory I have. I'll do mine first so you can think of yours. It's not a memory that I really have. It's a memory that gets told to me all the time that I did when I was little. Mm-hmm. My uncle and aunt took me to the Lego museum, or not Lego museum, Lego World or whatever it's called in Florida. And I really wanted a churro. But I was 4 and I didn't know how to say churro. I thought it was called a Roro. And I apparently
I threw the biggest tantrum at Legoland because I wanted a row. And I was yelling at everybody being like, I want a row. I want a row. And nobody knew what I was saying. And everybody was walking around and they were like, we wish so badly that camera phones were a thing back then, Josie, because you were crazy. And apparently it was like the funniest thing ever. Everyone was walking around like, what's a row? What's a row?
Does anyone know what a row is?
No one knew what a row was. And then as I was like walking out, I saw like a churro in the trash can and I literally went and grabbed it. And I was like, a row. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was digging through the trash at such a young age, like weekly trash.
That's
2.0.
disgusting.
So that's a memory that everyone always tells me about my childhood. And I'm like, okay, so I just wanted a churro.
No, that's a good
so now
one.
when I see churros, my family's like, oh, a row. And
I love that.
So it's not a memory I really remember.
Right.
But everybody else does.
And now you guys just rebranded churros.
Yeah, exactly. Row-rows.
I love that.
Row-rows. Do you have any funny childhood memories?
Honestly, oh my gosh. Okay. Not really. I'm not very funny.
You're so funny. What are you talking about?
Not really. The only thing that comes to mind is when we had my sister. My sister was born.
And you're 3 years apart.
Yeah, 3.5. And so I was an only child for 3.5 years. Like, who doesn't love that?
Yeah.
I mean, I love it more now that I have a sister. But when she came home, the first thing I'd said was, when is she going back? And my parents were like, she's not going back.
She's your sister. I feel like that's a common thing for like the only kid.
Totally
because
common.
I was only kid for 5 years.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember when my mom was pregnant, I would have vivid dreams that like she would bring home this like ugly baby. And I would just be like, ew, like what is this baby doing in my house? Like, that's why I'm kind of glad that my first two are so close together because they never like had to acknowledge that like a new baby was coming.
Yes.
They were, because yours are what, 2 years apart?
2 years, yeah.
So like they really didn't know.
No, they didn't. So that transition was pretty easy. This one is it's a lot cuter now that they have
What was
baby.
your hardest transition?
Definitely 0 to 1.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This one, 2 to 3, the easiest.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah, okay,
and
good.
so many people are like 2 to 3 was so hard. I'm like,
I got
added to the circus.
stuck on, you know how it is when you're like scrolling
Yeah.
TikTok, the amount of videos that I saw that people were talking about 2 to 3 was their hardest transition. And I remember I got so nervous. I was like, oh,
you're like, please don't tell me that.
What have I done?
yeah, no.
But no, I thought this was by far the easiest, by far. Like nothing's changed.
No,
It's just
add to the circus.
Yeah, you just add one more kid to I'm a little bit busier. Sit down at none at all. Well, I guess I do sit down to feed her, but yeah, just a little bit busier. But it's
you're
not
still doing something.
0 to 1 is life changing. Like your entire
whole new
life
world.
is flipped upside down.
Yeah.
And
Especially for you when that was not what you anticipated at all. It's like a teen pregnancy,
I was
but
at the frat
22.
houses partying it up like 9 months before he came. So
no, you definitely didn't see that one coming.
No.
But look at you.
Yeah,
3
2 to
kids
3.
now, rocking it. I would have
you.
never guessed that like that wasn't what you wanted in life at first. Like
really? Okay, good. I
you
love
just
that.
seem like someone who always wanted to like be married young, have babies young. Like I said, you give off Mormon Utah girl energy, but
I'll take it.
you're not. But like you're killing it.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited
So
to
are
see
you.
all. Well, I just, like I said, I love living through you because just living through any athlete's wife life, like you are just like the epitome of MILF. And you have like,
that is such a compliment.
no, you
2
are
months
like
postpartum. Thank you.
no, that's what's so crazy is you're 2 months postpartum. I'm like, literally how? But like, it's so fun to just watch your TikToks and I can't wait to see all the things when the actual season starts. Cause it's, you said it was off season right now.
Yeah, it's off season. So we'll start here in like February. Spring training will start again.
We'll get all busy and fun.
I know. It'll be so fun. All
and
3
then
kids watching their
cause yeah,
dad.
your little girl hasn't
Hasn't been to a baseball game yet. I know.
That'll be fun.
It'll be crazy.
That'll
It'll
be a cute picture.
Yeah. Our travels will be interesting next year, traveling with 3 kids.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to figure that one out. Because like this past year I traveled with both boys and we just took up a whole row.
Yeah.
So
Do you have a nanny?
Interesting. No.
You don't.
I don't. That's one of like the biggest misconceptions. Do you know how many fights I get in on Instagram right now of people telling me I have a nanny, so I need to like shut up?
And you're like,
And I'm like, no, I don't. No, I don't. When then they're like, oh, you're lying. Why would I lie about that? We had a nanny in the 2023 baseball season.
yeah.
So not this past, the 2024 one. We didn't have one. It was just me and the boys.
Are you going to get one with 3 kids?
How bad is this? I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. So basically we've had some like bad nanny experiences, by the way. Yeah. Like brutal.
Like what?
Just so like our first one in the 2023 season fired her after a month. It was horrible. And then we ended up getting a new one who is like an angel.
Okay. Okay.
Incredible angel. And she was with us the rest of the year. And then went into the 2024 season, hired another person, same thing, fired her within like a couple weeks. And it just I think the issue with our lifestyle is that we move twice a year. And so when you're looking for a nanny, you kind of need to have someone who is willing to kind of like be up for anything and like get up and move with us and come with us. And so that kind of limits the age a lot of the times. So a lot of times it's like we're dealing with like young 20-something girls. And I think a lot of it was like they see our lifestyle and on social media. And I feel like I kind of make it look a little more glamorous than it is, to be honest. And it is. There's
like I said, I love watching it because I love living through you, but that's because you're showing the more glamorous
truly
side.
And I do show both sides. I really do. But, you know, I'm not showing the, you know, the weeks on end that he's gone. I'm not showing, you know, just, I mean, the kids have a hard day. Like I'm sure you've had a day where all three of your kids are just melting down or sick and so it's really work hard, play hard. Like you work hard and then we can play hard. But I feel like they just would kind of like see my life on social media and they're like, oh, that'll be so fun. Like I'll just like travel and like see the world and like baseball stadiums. And it's like, wait, no, like you actually have to like work hard. And,
yeah.
like,
You actually have to be the nanny.
Yeah. Like help and not just like, So, and I think because we've had some like rough experiences with nannies, like part of me almost just wants to like do it myself.
No,
I would
that's
rather
amazing.
do it myself than having to deal with another rough nanny.
Yeah. Or it's a stranger essentially in your life, seeing your life with your kids. And it's like, if you don't love them and trust them.
I know. And it's hard. So I don't know.
No, that's honestly so impressive and incredible.
Thank you.
Because obviously people can do it. Women can do anything.
Totally.
But it would be really nice to have help.
Yeah.
But obviously you can do it yourself.
Exactly. And I think too, when I originally really wanted a nanny, that was like the 2023 season. So we're looking at like almost 2 years ago now. Because we're going to go into the 2025 season. So it was 2 years ago that we were interviewing a nanny. And at that point I was super career driven, as in like my career in social media. And I'd just seen, it was like my first full year with my management team. So I'd really kind of seen like what I can do and what I can accomplish and how much money I can make. And so I was like, but also that was while I was taking care of my kids. And so I was like, I really want to see what I could do if I like really put in like 110% into this. Like I treated this like a real job. So like I have someone that will help me with my kids 40 hours a week while I work. And I did get to experience that in 2023. And it was awesome. You know, when I got to see like the number that I made at the end of the year, I was so like happy and proud of myself. But I feel like in the year after that, I feel like my priorities have really shifted to the point where like my main priorities are now like more so my kids and less so like my career. Like I feel like I could give up social media tomorrow and be so happy. Like,
that's amazing.
It'd be so good. Yeah.
I love that.
I don't know. I don't know if I really want to do a nanny. Cause then I feel like if I get one, it'll be very like, okay, let me, you know, put this time into social media. Yeah. And I think I would rather just like, social media on the side, family first. Whereas I feel like in times in the past, I really kind of focus like, oh no, this is like my job. This is a career. I can really do big things in this. And then I don't know.
Well, yeah, you got to kind of experience both. You got to see, you got to, give it your all. And that was fun. Totally. And then kind of showed you that like you love being a mom, and that's amazing.
I know. I do love it. So
we'll
see.
I love all the mom content. Keep it coming.
I
appreciate
it. Thank you.
You're the best mom. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad we made this work.
I know. I told you earlier, I'm not like a big podcast person, but you are like one of the few podcasts I actually listen to, and I love
that. Like I said,
everyone you have on it, I'm like, yes, I love them. So
well, my favorite part about this is just meeting people, because like I follow them on social media, and then it's like, oh, now I want to be your friend in real life.
Yes, and then getting to meet them.
It's the funnest thing. So and I will never do like a virtual interview, because I'm like, that's so lame. Like I want to see you in person.
Yes.
And so when I was flying out here, I was like, I want to get all my favorite girlies while I'm here. I don't want to do any virtual stuff. No. So thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So much fun. Thanks for letting me dumpster deep dive you.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Everyone needs to follow you on Instagram and TikTok. Get all that MLB Hot Mom content. But have the best week, you guys. And don't forget to take out your trash. Bye.